Hey there everyone, Hanyou here, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 1, Onikakushi. Before we get started, I'm gonna have to backtrack a little bit from what I said when I posted the moving video about my schedule when I'm going to be gone. Instead of being Monday, Wednesday, and Friday while I'm away, instead Higurashi will only be Mondays and Wednesdays, with Steins Gate staying Tuesdays and Thursdays. This is just to keep me with a little bit of sanity and stuff like that, because I need to binge record, and I don't think I can binge record 15 episodes in the time I have left before I move. I know I should have been doing it earlier, but yeah, that's on me. So instead of getting 3 episodes a week, you'll be getting 2 episodes a week, totaling 4 episodes a week, if you count the Steins Gate ones. I do apologize, but it's going to be a bit easier on me, and it's going to be, yeah, I'm being selfish. I'm sorry. Anyway, carrying on from where we left off, didn't comprehend it, so nobody had any notion to try and kill me. I needed to get rid of such naive thoughts. As I made that resolution, I heard the bell signaling the end of class. And again, I do apologize. I'll get back to a more consistent schedule once I am back up and running at my new place. So soon, the day was already over. I didn't recall eating lunch or doing anything in class. My friends were putting their desks together in preparation for club activities. Not long ago, I would probably have happily jumped into that circle. My, Keiichi-san. How rude of you to even think about leaving. The way Satoko spoke was so typical and familiar, it almost physically hurt. Huh? Keiji-kun, is today not a good day? Yeah, I wonder. And we were gonna win big together, huh? Seeing Rina's expression, which said she was really looking forward to today, was hard to take. Hey Keiichi, maybe Oishi-san is just some enormous jerk trying to separate me from the others by lying to me. Slap. Trying to expunge such weak-minded thinking, I slapped myself in the face. Keiichi-kun? Yeah, was Rina really trying to kill me? I wish someone would tell me it was a hoax. I didn't care if it actually was one or not. I just wanted someone to say it was. Gah. Yet another weak-willed thought. How did I ever become this naive? Are you alright? Does your head hurt? Apparently that was how my inner dilemma appeared to Rina. You're pale. Can you make it home by yourself? Maybe I should accompany you home, I wonder. No, it's okay. Sorry. I can get home by myself. Just have the meeting without me. Upon hearing that I wasn't going to participate in the club meeting, Mion pouted unhappily. Since Kei-chan was so bent on a revenge match, we were going to play that deduction game from before, too. Keiichi-san doesn't have the burning desire for a rematch. How pathetic. I wouldn't fall for some dumb taunt. Without even a real retort, I just grabbed my bag and was about to get up. Someone's hand perched itself gently on my head. Keiichi doesn't seem to be well. How very unfortunate. It was Rika-chan. She was stretched up as far as she could, doing her best to pat my head with her petite hand. It felt so nice, which made things even harder. Sorry, everybody. See you. That's all I said as I quickly left the classroom. They said something to me as I was leaving, but I couldn't make it out. I managed to make it all the way to the entrance in that state of mind, took out my shoes, put them on, and went forward. Harden that heart, Keiichi Mibara. They were, for some unfathomable reason, trying to kill me. They were plotting something dubious, watching my every move. But I couldn't hate them, because weren't they my friends? Part of me lamented my naivete, while another part lamented the fact that I had lost something important for lamenting over it in the first place. It felt like my consciousness was being ripped out of my body. If this is what Oyashiro-sama's curse was like, then it was just too harsh. Hey, Oyashiro-sama, I was wrong for not believing in your curse. But I believed I believed in it now, completely. The curse does exist. So seriously, give me a break. I beg you, come on. Dinner was unusually bland. It had no flavor or aroma. The miso soup that normally tantalized my appetite instead tasted like nothing but boiled water. Dad was eating with us that night. It was a rare occurrence in this household. When he got into his work, he ate and slept on his own schedule. My dad never cared about the time. Since my dad was at the dinner table, it either meant he had just reached a good point to take a break, or he was in a slump. So yeah, he just doesn't understand the motivation creators have. Your partnership was just a verbal agreement, wasn't it? If it's so hard to agree on things, why not just end it? I feel like it's an industry with a lot of back scratching, but when it gets in the way of business, I wasn't able to pick out much of my mom and dad's conversation, but I could tell it wasn't a very pleasant topic. And that, of course, made the disgusting food even less appealing. Staring listlessly at the exchange between my parents, my mind wandered off to the same thought process I had going all day long. Friends close to me, they used to be friends, but I could no longer trust them. Right now I was greatly lacking in allies. People I trusted, people I could depend on when push came to shove. They were something I just didn't have. Having just one ally would have been incredibly reassuring in the currently hopeless situation I was in. I put my chopsticks down and looked over at my parents, who were still talking about work. The first course of action that came to mind was to tell my parents everything. Currently, there wasn't a single person from Hinamizawa I could trust 100%. That means the only people I could trust were my parents. But if I told them everything that happened up until now, would they understand? Rena, for example, that neighborly Rena, who is so diligent in looking after me, came to get me every day and sometimes brought over a share of what she made. How could I explain that she wanted to kill me? No matter how I explained, it would probably be difficult for anybody to comprehend. My somewhat eccentric dad wouldn't understand, and my high-strung mom would probably drag me out to off to a psychiatrist in the blink of an eye. Sadly, that was the amount of trust that existed in our relationship. Even if they did come to understand, what could they possibly do? Unless they could uncover the truth, they wouldn't be able to protect me. No, by informing them of these unnecessary things, I'd be putting my parents in danger as well. Considering that the victims in past incidents were often married couples, I couldn't even joke about it. The entire Mibara family to have an accident or to just vanish into thin air, it was easily possible in Hinamizawa. What was important here was that knowing something unnecessary put you in danger. The most unsettling question was, how did they know that I knew? As long as they didn't know my parents might not fall victim, that was one way to think about it, I guess. At least it was like that in my case. After I found out, things started becoming odd. In other words, it meant the following. As long as my parents didn't know anything, nothing would happen to them. As long as my parents were here, this house would be a safe haven for them. I knew these were just assumptions based on conjecture on top of conjecture. Wanting this house to be a safe haven, that was the pinnacle of my weak-willed method of thinking. I had to concede that it was not completely safe, it was only safer than the outside. I knew that I couldn't rely on my parents. No, I couldn't risk getting my parents involved. The only person who could be my ally would be Uishi-san, him and him alone. He was the only person who, under the situation I was in, who understood the situation I was in. He didn't care so much about my safety, but he was, without a doubt, passionate about solving this case. It was a bit frustrating. Oishi-san was basically the whole reason I was in this mess. Now, to get out of it, I had to rely on him. Meaning it was all going according to his devices. It was just my job to look appetizing while bobbing in the waves as bait. Then when the fish started gathering around, Uishi-san would pull up the big haul. It was slightly infuriating, but even I thought that was the best course of action. So then, what should I do? Patience was the first rule of fishing. Just keep waiting until the fish actually bites. But I wasn't simply bait. There were lots of ways for me to struggle before being devoured. When they struck, I needed to somehow dodge just enough to tag out to Uishi-san. No question it was going to be hard. The timing to bring Uishi-san in would be difficult. He was in the city, not Hinamizawa. So if I phoned him in my moment of need, it would take him about 30 minutes to reach me. So I needed to run away for those 30 minutes. For example, if we set up a rendezvous point for dire situations or something, I'd just have to hide out there until Uishi-san arrived. Okay, I can almost see it now. I was still being chased around in the dark by boogeymen, but now I knew which way to go. I would never have imagined this would be so reassuring. Oh yeah. It would probably be best if I had a concealed weapon for when things got rough. Typically, that would call for a switchblade. But that wasn't too reassuring for combat. So since it was recognized as a weapon by the police, that also wasn't good. Really, when the time comes, a long weapon like a bat would work in my favor. I remember there was a metal bat at school. I could be confident with that when push comes to shove. If I pretended I was practicing my swing, then it wouldn't be suspicious for me to carry it around. I could go to school early tomorrow and secure it. Just possessing a weapon may be enough to deter them. Although one more thing, insurance. It could be something like a note or memo. I could write down everything that's happened as a sort of journal. In case I suddenly vanished, the journal would be left behind. With my journal in his possession, Uishi-san should be able to avenge my death. I left my parents engrossed in their conversation and work and went back to my room. I tore out a piece of paper from a notebook and made my way to my desk. Last time I wrote a journal was for summer homework in elementary school. In the off chance something bad happened, the police could use my diary as a lead. So I should only write down the facts. How should I start? I jotted down my thoughts as they came. I, Keiichi Maebara, am in fear for my life. It made me laugh nervously. It was a line that showed up often in detective stories. I never even dreamed that I would be in the type of situation where I'd write it myself. I do not know why they are after my life. Rena and the others were suspicious, but I had no proof, and that's why I couldn't write anything more. I laughed wryly at myself, for writing such a passage draped in mystery. Would the police be able to get the hint from reading this enigmatic passage? I could only pray that they would. What I prayed for the most, though, was that this journal never needed to play its part. Here I laughed nervously. It was too simple, so I wrote down one more line I just thought of. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Was that too much? I probably shouldn't write more than that. If I write any more, then it would seem like I was just delusional. In order to appear to the reader that the person who had written this was of sound mind, I chose not to write anything else at that point. I just needed to add more as I learned more about the truth. I folded the paper and thought about a place to hide it. By hiding it somewhere obvious, there was the chance that they would uncover it instead. On the other hand, if it was too obscure of a location, then there was a risk of nobody finding it at all. In the end, I decided to take the clock off my wall and stick my folded note on the back of it with Scotch tape. After that, I put the clock back into its normal position. Yeah. It didn't look like anything was hidden behind it. Now I needed to set it up such that if anything happens to me, my parents could find it. I looked at it from countless different angles until I was satisfied, and I made my way downstairs. My parents were still talking about work. It didn't look like it was going to end anytime soon, so I cut in. Sorry to interrupt. I have something I want to talk to you about. I'd never started off a conversation like that before, so my parents were both startled. They stopped talking and turned towards me. What is it, Keiichi? I have a favor to ask of you. Please listen. Just in case, yeah? If it's not urgent, can we do this later? Right now, Mommy and Daddy have something urgent they're talking about. I don't think their talk was more urgent than mine. In any case, I started my request. Just in case, okay? If I die. Both my parents' eyes went as wide as saucers. If I die, I want you to put the clock on my wall in my coffin. If they did that, then they'd probably find it. My memoir. Both my parents remained wide-eyed, not moving an inch. I couldn't blame them. I made that clock and shop class, and I really like it. So please. What's the matter? Keiichi, did something happen? Mom was finally able to ask me with a questioning gaze. Of course, this was a normal response for when someone's son suddenly talked about a subject like this. I felt bad about making them worry, but right now I just wanted... Sorry about that. But right now I just wanted them to think about the clock in my room. With the awkward mood leaving the room in silence, I decided to go back up to my room. I want to get to school early tomorrow, so I'm going to bed. Good night. Saying only that, I left the living room. I needed to get to school early tomorrow and secure that bat. I should make today the last day I went to school with Rina. As I climbed the stairs, I heard my mom call my name, but I pretended not to hear her. It wasn't something I could talk about with my parents. If I talked about it, it would only make things more dangerous. The fight that had begun was mine and mine alone. I couldn't rely on anybody. I wouldn't be killed. Not when I still knew nothing. Received new tip. Chasing Shadows achievement. Keiichi-kun's been feeling down lately. Maybe he's in a bad mood. I wonder. Maybe he's on his period. Me-chan, that's gross. Yuck, 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 yuck. What do you think? Don't know. Could be that Kei-chan, maybe? I don't know. That day, Kei-chan was in that car talking to some tubby middle-aged guy, right? Yeah. No mistake. That Uishi, he probably fed him something fishy. He was so serious. Keiichi-kun's face was so pale. You see, you might not know this, but he's actually the messenger of Oyashiro-sama. Oh. These tips are kind of screwing with my head right now. Not going to lie. Huh? What do you mean? Whenever he shows up, someone is demoned away. No lie. Oh. Is that so? Year before last, when Rika-chan's mom drowned, right? Right before that, she was visited by Uishi. Now that you mention it, it happened before Satoshi-kun transferred out. Transferred? You're so sweet, Rina. So this time, he's appeared before Keiichi-kun. So Keiichi-kun is going to be demoned away too. An empty silence hung in the air, and then it was suddenly interrupted. By loud laughter. That one made me feel weird and uncomfortable. I don't know about that. This is the first time I'd ever woken with such clarity. It was 5:59, just moments before my alarm would go off. I was amazed at the precision of my internal clock. I had made preparations for the next day of school before I went to bed. I changed quickly and descended to the deserted lower floor. It appeared that my mom was still asleep. Neither breakfast nor lunch was ready. Yesterday, I just unilaterally declared that I would be leaving early today, so it couldn't be helped. I slathered jam on some bread and topped it with instant cocoa. That sounds disgusting, man. Jam and instant cocoa on bread. Maybe? I doubt it, but that doesn't sound very good. Like I said, maybe. But again, I doubt it. Just as I finished up breakfast, Mom rose groggily from her slumber. My, Keiichi, you're up early. Is there some sort of school event? Not really. Answering bluntly, I picked up my bags and stood after stuffing 2 slices of bread down my throat. You're leaving already? What about lunch? If you don't wait a bit, I can't make it. If I waited for her to make my lunch, then it would end up being the same time as usual. If I did that, it would raise the chances of running into Rina and Mion on the way. Yes, from today onwards, I was going to go to school alone. I'll be fine for today. And then what will you do for lunch? I'll slip out and buy some bread or something at the store. Really? Then here's some lunch money. Be sure to bring me back the receipt. I took the 1,000-yen bill from Mom and slipped it into my pocket. It's pretty early. Is Rina-chan up this early? As well? No, just me. Did you tell Rina-chan that you're leaving early? I have no reason to tell her every little detail, now do I? Finding it difficult answering the onslaught of questions, I made an annoyed face. Tell Rina that I went ahead when she comes. Hey, Keiichi, wait. It's not that I didn't trust my parents, I just couldn't rely on them. They couldn't help me, I could only hope that they didn't get involved. It was safer that way. My mom's annoying voice was cut off by the slam of the door. For the first time since I moved here, I headed down the road to school alone. Up until now, I had always walked down the same path at the same time each day. So I was met with the same people at the same places. But today was different. I didn't meet the people I would normally, and nobody was at the same places where I would have normally met them. Of course, Rina wasn't in the spot where we usually meet, and there wasn't anyone at the spot where we would have met up with Mion. The length of the trees' shadows, the morning air, and the brightness of the sun, it was a completely different type of morning from what I was used to. Without a doubt, it felt strange. It left me with an impression that I had destroyed the illusion Hinamizawa had set up for me before it had enough time to prepare all the props needed to deceive me. Yeah. My, Keiichi-kun, you're so early today. Is everyone meeting early this morning? The person who called out to me was someone we always passed by as we were taking a walk along the edge of the fields. Their name was, I forgot. Nice to meet you, I forgot. How's the family? That is such an old and terrible joke. Of course, this wasn't the spot where we usually passed each other. I woke up early today, so I thought it would be a good change of pace. That's all. I threw out a random excuse. Oh, and about Rina-chan and Mion-chan. Are you by yourself today? Well, yeah. I was being asked the same type of questions my mom was asking, so I answered them in the same uninteresting, vague manner. It wasn't funny being asked where Rena was each time I passed someone, but maybe it was to be expected. It was because for so long we were always together so amicably. Even I felt that if I let my guard down, we could still be friends. Stop it, Keiichi. Don't think about that anymore. You spent all day yesterday thinking about how dangerous it was to go soft, didn't you? Alright, well, we're going to end this episode here, so if you enjoyed it, please leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more content in the future, and until next time, everybody, have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye!